Hi, it's another great day in Orange County, California. I'm at the Coto de Caza Golf and Racket Club, and we are an Audubon Society certified golf course. And today we're going to take a little nature walk up these steps, one of our fairways, show you all the cool things we have. But first we'll start here at this vine that grows all along our golf course. This guy here is a California blackberry, or Pacific blackberry, Rubus ursinus. He's native to California, grows from Oregon all the way down to Mexico. We get tasty berries from March through September. They start out red, then they ripen to a dark purple, even black. It's a very valuable wildlife plant we have here. It's a favorite of our California black bears. But in Coto, our blackberry is a meal for a variety of birds, deer, rabbits, other animals who eat both the berries and the shoots. Up here, this is the 13th tee box of our South golf course. It's a 423-yard par 4, wraps around those beautiful coast live oak trees by our creek. And up here, this guy behind me is a western sycamore, also called a California sycamore, Platanus racemosa. He's native to California, all the way down to Baja. You'll find him along our coastal riparian areas, oak woodlands, and canyons. Little bird called a black-chinned hummingbird. Likes to use a fuzz from the leaves to build a nest. You might find some European starlings up here as well. That guy up there, that's a mistletoe. It's a parasitic plant. It's called a big leaf mistletoe, or a sycamore mistletoe, Phordendron microphyllum. He's a parasite, produces small sticky berries each year. It's a favorite snack of our cedar waxwings and a little black bird called a phainopepla, who builds his nest in there and also eats the berries. So that's pretty cool. Down here is our creek. It's called the Gobernadora Creek, named after a canyon called La Cañada de la Gobernadora. It's a seasonal creek. In the Spanish, they call a seasonal creek an arroyo. That brings us to this great plant. And down here in the arroyo, we'll find our resident Baja California tree frog chirping away. Anyway, this guy here is a arroyo willow. Now he's native to California. Find him growing all along the riparian areas, our canyons, valleys, chaparral, oak woodlands, from Baja up to Oregon. He's a true willow, scientific name Salix lasiolepis. He's got shiny green on top and a glaucous gray color on the bottom. So he flutters in the wind. You get that beautiful dark light kind of look. So anyway, he'll bloom from February to May. Gives us little flowers called catkins. It's a great stabilizer for our slopes here. Attracts all sorts of songbirds and amphibians and small mammals. A great host to our local butterflies like the Lorquin's admiral, mourning cloak, and a western tiger swallowtail. It's a coast live oak tree. This guy here is a fig tree, Ficus carica. Comes from the Mediterranean. The Spaniards, they brought this to California in the 15th century, and it's pretty much naturalized all throughout California in these areas. Gets us our little fig fruits, favorite of our coyotes, little songbirds. If you're lucky, you might see a yellow-breasted chat dining on one of the fruits of this fig tree here. How about that? Up here, this guy here is a California fan palm, Washingtonia foliifera. He's the only palm tree actually native to California. We have all sorts of other goodies here, like artichoke thistles, and this is coyote brush here, and here's a pampas grass right there. We're going to take a walk down our fairway check out some of the other cool plants, maybe some animals along the way. Down here by our creek, this herb-like plant, that's called a yerba mansa. These are great for herbologists. They love to make all sorts of concoctions out of this fellow. All sorts of cool little plants and shrubs in here. This here's our southern cattail. We got some more up the stream I'll show you. This is a seasonal creek, so theoretically it only flows about 3 or 4 months a year. This little shrub here is an ornamental got out of somebody's garden. It's called an orchid rock rose. These beautiful little flowers there. We got one up here too. Scientific name is Cistus purpureus, or purple rock rose. Those great little spots right in the center. It comes from the Mediterranean. He's a great pollinator for our resident bees. Also visited by our common buckeye butterfly and the gray hairstreak butterfly. So he's a good guy to have out here in Coto de Caza. Here we have another California fan palm. Down there some southern cattail. But on the left, all these guys, it's all coast live oak trees. Quercus agrifolia. They love to grow in the riparian areas around our creek. This whole habitat is called a coast live oaklands community. And over half the creatures in Coto de Caza rely on these coast live oak trees for survival. Here we have a sycamore. He's coming in with his leaves for springtime. Find all sorts of birds and critters in here. Acorn woodpeckers, northern flickers, California scrub jays, a lot of bush tits, all sorts of little perching and songbirds. We'll also find our resident squirrels down here. A great tree. Now you recognize our coast live oak trees mostly by their leaves. Right here, see how they're all super green and folded in like that? That helps with water loss, transpiration, and evaporation. It's got male and female flowers called catkins. The male flowers right here, they dangle down. They're pretty much spent already. All their pollen's gone. Has little pink flowers, much tinier, which are the female flowers. But the female flowers, once they're fertilized, will turn into tiny little acorns. Like that guy right there. Here's a little acorn coming in here as well. So he's a great member of our golf course here. Up here in our oak tree, we have these little bird boxes all throughout Coto de Caza. They're specifically designed for the western bluebirds. Those little guys have a hard time competing with other birds for nesting spaces, especially like the European starlings or the cowbirds. So we give them a nice little home here. Behind me, it's called an artichoke thistle, also called a cardoon, Cynara cardunculus. Comes from the Mediterranean. He's a precursor of the artichokes you buy at the grocery store. He's an invasive weed, stout, herbaceous, perennial. Got a super deep taproot, but he's really good for erosion control. And the younger shoots are edible. In fact, they're a delicacy out in France and Spain and down in Louisiana. Sometimes this guy's eaten by rodents or birds. It's not always the food of their choice. We've got these flowers come on these stalks here. When they're all ripe and ready, they're purple. These guys are rather spent from last year. This kind of weedy looking guy is called a milk thistle, Solibum marianum. He's got these big broad leaves here all the way up, and he's really thorny. See these thorns all over this guy. Oh my goodness. Call it thistle, but here's his flower right here, guarded by all these thistles, but his flower is really, really soft and purple. Great for our local little bees that like to come in and pollinate these guys from their nectar. Here we have a whole sea of artichoke thistles. Just grow like a weed here, but they help stabilize all the erosion, so that's good. Lots of coast live oak trees in this little grotto area. They drop their acorns and they love to sprout and grow into new trees. That's very cool. Lots of shrub out here, and I'll show you another one of our beautiful western bluebird boxes right up here. There we go. Great little box for our beautiful western bluebirds. So we're going to head across the fairway to that open area way up there. Now up on the right side of our fairway, right up here, we used to have a whole sea of beautiful coastal golden bush, Isocoma menziesii, textbook chaparral, terrific for our bees, but the fire department made us take it out, fire hazard. So we planted some more fire resistant plants. This guy here, little purple prickly pear, he's called Opuntia macrocentra, native to the southwest United States, usually gets 2 to 3 feet high, and he's always grown as a ornamental. This plant here looks like a coast live oak tree, Quercus agrifolia, but I believe it's a leather oak, Quercus dorata, native to California. It's going to be hard to tell till he grows up. Out here, we have some little Opuntia prickly pears. This guy here is our Pride of Madeira, Echium candicans. He'll get about 5 feet tall, 5 feet wide. He sends up these big spikes here that we have here. No flower, big purple, bluish flowers up on top there. And inside this little brackets here, this guy here is a candelabra aloe, known as Aloe arborescens. He'll grow about 5 feet tall, gives great red torch-like racemes of flowers on top of the flower stalks. And all throughout this area, we have planted trailing rosemary. This is brand new. He'll spread out about 5 or 6 feet, and the one over there will spread out 5 or 6 feet this way. They'll match, meet up, cover this whole slope with trailing rosemary. Terrific for the bees and even a lesser goldfinch likes to hang out on those plants. So we'll head back over here, see if we can find some cool stuff. This little plant here is called a bristly ox tongue. Comes from Africa, Mediterranean. He's invasive out here in California. He's bristly because all these bristles on his leaves here. He's an ox tongue because, of course, his leaves look like an ox tongue. Not a lot of animals like to eat them. Maybe the turtles and the tortoises. We need a flowering for us today. Little guy coming in. He'll come out in springtime and cheer up this place a little bit. Now back on the right side of our fairway, all of this here is called southern cattail. Here's another fig tree. So southern cattail, Typhus domagensis, comes from the southern United States. You find this guy all over the world though. He's really invasive, likes to grow in marshes and wetlands. You recognize him by these little hot dog shaped flowers up here. And he's great for our American goldfinches and our very invasive scaly breasted munia comes from Southeast Asia. And up here, this guy is called mule fat. Right here, he looks like our willows, but it's not. He's called Baccharis salicifolia. Right here, it's called salicifolia because his leaves here look like salix or willow leaves. Anyway, it gives us these little flowers here. Now salix will give us little catkins. This guy gives us little flowers. These are textbook chaparral plant. Find them all along our golf course and all sorts of washes up and down California. Large bush with sticky small leaves and fuzzy flowers. The roots here are edible. They're called famine plants, so if you're really hungry you could eat these plants. Also you can grind them up to help with hair loss and baldness. He's a great attractor of bees, hummingbirds, and our local western tiger swallowtail. We'll head back over here by the green. Up by the green, down in our creek, that guy is called a stinging nettle. It's got little barbs that'll inject histamines into your leg or your arm and cause it to rash and numb for about a week. All this here is mule fat. Just terrific. Our little birds just absolutely love this plant here. Got some other cool stuff right down in the creek. We have some papyrus. Right down there is called umbrella papyrus. Cyperus alternifolius, also called umbrella sedge, umbrella palm, comes from Africa. He's a common household ornamental that kind of got away and started growing wild down here. They don't do much for our wildlife, just for looking at. Anyway, more cool stuff. Down here we have some pampas grass. Cordaderia soloana. Comes from Argentina. He was brought up to California in the 1970s as an ornamental, but got away. He's super invasive. He gets his name Cordaderia because cortar in Spanish means to cut. And the leaves here, super sharp. And they'll cut you. And those little things up there, those plumes, cut those down, use it for little household decorations. Get another California fan palm right here. Behind our green, this guy here is a really big guy. It's a Brazilian pepper tree, Scynus terebinthifolia. Comes from Brazil. He's brought up here by the Spaniards for the peppercorns that'll grow in the sky. Usually an ornamental, but they get away like this tree and they grow a little wild. He's great for our birds, the lesser goldfinch, American robins, northern mockingbirds, there's cedar waxwings. Love this guy. Behind the green, we have some more cool stuff. We have coyote brush. And down here we have California blackberries, mule fat. Up here we have a little fig tree. But way up in the tree, this guy, we have a nest. That nest is for our red-shouldered hawks. They've been coming here for a couple years now, and each year they have a successful brood of 2 young ones usually. We have other hawks here too. We have a red-tailed hawk, our Cooper's hawks, sharp-shinned hawks, and lots of other little birds of prey. We're gonna head out this way. I'll show you one more thing. This plant here is an invasive weed. It's poison hemlock, believe it or not. It's got these fern-like leaves here, but you know it's hemlock because there's all these splotches up and down the stem, and he's hairless. Otherwise he looks like a wild carrot or Queen Anne's lace. If we break him open, see how he's hollow inside. There, he's poison hemlock. If you eat like 6 of these parsley looking leaves here, actually kill you. Now the back of the green here, on the way to the next hole, we have one of our signature windmills. This guy here is an air motor, model 702, built in 1976. Used to be a working windmill, now it's just for decoration purposes. We used to have cattle and sheep, and Coto de Caza used to be a hunting preserve. We have people hunting all sorts of birds and pheasants, like John Wayne used to come out with his horse and saddle him up and feed him out of the trough. So we have all the cool parts in here, and here are the gears for our unit. And the gears are set up to spin around, and it changes the rotational energy into a up and down energy that drove the piston to pump out the well. Used to be way up there in that, called a hood, right there. So anyway, that's our little tour of the 13th hole on our south golf course. Lots of trees and animals and birds and butterflies and all sorts of stuff. So hope you like that video. Please click like, subscribe, share, all the rest. Have a great day. Bye.